Hey y'all, it's Elizabeth Weimiller, and we are already at the month of August, which is just, it blows my mind. It's crazy how fast this year is going. I don't know what all of you are thinking, but this year is absolutely flying by. So, with that being said, let's just jump right in. We are in full swing retrograde season. We currently have four planets retrograde at the start of August. We have Venus retrograde, which went retrograde July 22nd. We have Saturn retrograde, which has been retrograde since June. We have Neptune and Pluto retrograde as well. Now, adding to it, Mercury is going to go retrograde the end of the month. We will talk about that. And then Uranus will also join the retrograde party even after Mercury, so more like August 28th, 29th of the month of August. So we will at that point have six planets retrograde. Really, retrogrades are a time to slow down. They're a time to reflect. They're a time when things can come back from the past related to that planet or the house that it's retrograding in. For your personal unique chart, which is where having a professional astrologer look at your chart does help. But, it's really that time to just revisit things, reassess, make changes that need to be changed, kind of work through stuff and put it to bed. So retrogrades, as I've mentioned in past videos, not a time to begin new projects, really a time to just revisit old ones. So like if you're working, on a project that's been sitting stationary for a while, now's a great time to revisit it and revamp it and get it done. Like just move through it, work through it, and just know that if you do decide to start projects during this time, just know they're going to take longer to complete or get off the ground. There could be delays and setbacks and things like that. So I do know one of the things with August is we have a lot of energy in fire signs. So we've got Uranus, Jupiter, and the node of the moon Rahu in Aries, which is a fire sign. And then we are also going to have a lot of energy in Leo because we will have, for the first couple days of the month, we will have Venus there. And then a lot of the month, we will have Mercury, Mars there, part of it, and the sun in its own sign of Leo. So lots of fire signs going on. This really could bring extreme heat, which I know some of this we've already been seeing. But again, we have big planets in fire signs, and they're planets that expand, especially Jupiter and Rahu. So that's one thing to keep in mind with the weather. We have other things we will talk about that are going to bring potential of flooding and storms and seismic activity. So just know, things can happen depending on what's going on. And it could be in different areas. So I know we saw, Vermont got slammed with flooding this past month, end of June and July, whenever that was. So just know there's a lot going on this month. Now, all of that being said, we each have our own unique birth charts. How these impact you really does depend on where your natal planets are. It depends on what's going on in your chart. It depends on the houses being impacted. We each have highs and lows, but it's really looking at your chart and seeing how it's set up for success and how you can work with it. And I really love the quote by Robert Frost that says, two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So keep in mind, we all have free will. We all have the ability to choose the path we take. So we have the ability to choose our mindset. So really keep that in mind as we go through the month. As with anything, there's always goods, there's always potential for, some harder stuff, but the harder stuff isn't necessarily bad. It's just lessons we're meant to learn and that we need to be guided through. So that being said, kind of talked last month about this with Venus going retrograde, but Venus is in full swing retrograde motion. I have had a bunch of different things going on this month from clients. I've heard different things. I've had a lot of people that were like, dude, July 21st, 22nd was rough when it was stationary because they had planets being impacted and they lost friends out of the blue without warning or explanation. I've had other people that have had people they thought moved on reappear in their life. So Venus retrograde can bring back relationships, whether they're personal or otherwise, depending on the houses it's impacting. It can bring things that need to be healed. And it could be that it's from a different Venus retrograde cycle that's finally getting healed through this one. So just take that time, know that relationships can be more delicate during this time or seem more on edge. Really don't push things right now. Don't jump into things. Don't jump into new relationships because they're not likely to last. So keep that in mind as we work through Venus retrograde. Venus will be retrograde until September 4th. So we've still got a month and a few days of retrograde. The good news is Venus does only go retrograde every 18 months, but it also means that its retrograde motion is a little more potent and packs more of a punch. So Venus is going to re-enter Cancer on August 7th. So think back between May 30th and July 6th of this year, what was going on. That was the first time Venus was in Cancer this year. Now, because it's retrograde, as it goes backwards, there could be some event that started then during that May 30th to July 6th period that comes back around this next time Venus is in Cancer. And Venus is in Cancer until October. So just know with this retrograde, it's going to be there. This is the time to work through things. Just be open and kind of go with the flow. So just again, events set in motion during that first transit in Cancer could come back around. Now they'll kind of hit a pinnacle when it retrogrades over these points again. And then once it goes direct, it'll hit these points a third time for the back end of Cancer. And that is, that's when you could finally get some closure and some things that kind of finally close out. So just keep that in mind and put on your calm hat, meditate, just stay focused and grounded. With retrogrades, Venus had just crossed over the Gandanta degree. Gandanta is strongest at the last degree of a water sign, first degree of a fire sign. So that's between Cancer and Leo. So it's 29 to 0 Leo and basically it's 29 degrees Cancer to 1 degree Leo. Now, it can have impacts within the last 3 degrees and the first 3 degrees. So it will be strongest from August 4th through 8th when it's between that 29 degrees Cancer to 1 degree Leo mark. That can see areas get extreme rain. It can see flooding. We could see seismic activity, but because it's Cancer, which is ruled by the moon, it can also, and it's Gandanta, we can also really see an increased sensitivity. So just really, when it comes to decisions, sleep on your decisions. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. Avoid rash decisions because you may come to regret your actions and choices later. So just don't do anything rash right now. Don't make any big life decisions. Really take that time and sleep on things. August 1st, we have 2 planetary aspects happening. Mercury will be opposite retrograde Saturn, and we have a full moon. It is the second of 4 super moons. So we had the full moon last month, which is a super moon. We have 2 full moons in August. So this one on August 1st, and then one at the end of the month, which will be a super moon as well, and a blue moon because it's the second in the month. Saturn and Mercury in opposition can bring serious conversations and thinking. It can bring kind of a heaviness and energy, including some sadness or thinking that's on the negative side. Really try to reframe those thoughts. Try to turn them positive. Try to stay on the positive side to stay grounded, and don't let that bring you down. You may feel like isolating during that time, as you may feel more comfortable being alone, being in your own space. So just know this is a passing influence. Mercury moves pretty quickly, and thankfully with Mercury retrograde at the end of the month, this aspect, it's yes. So just know it's a passing influence unless you have it in your birth chart, and then you're kind of already used to it. You've adapted. With that big Saturn Mercury, also not a time to make major life decisions, because that could bring up challenging situations, especially if it's impacting chart points in your natal chart. So as with anything, if you have planets at these degrees, those are what are going to be most impacted. And that's where a professional astrologer does come in handy. Or if you know your own chart and you keep track of the degrees, that also just know when they're hitting a degree exactly, like if a planet stations on a degree, say, so Venus stationed at 4 degrees, 45 minutes of sidereal Leo, if you have a planet at that point, the retrograde is going to impact you more. It just is. I have seen it play out. I've seen it play out in my own chart. I've seen it play out in clients' charts. Just know that can happen. The super moon, the full moon, as with any full moons, it's a time where things can be very bright. Things It can bring higher tides. It can bring strong storms. It can bring emotional intensity because the moon is closest to Earth. The moon rules our emotions. It's very much that emotions. It's the moon, and it changes signs every 2 to 3 days. So it's moving really quick. Now, it is going to be, this full moon is in the lunar mansion of Shravana, which really gives a desire to go on a quest for knowledge and information. And it really like wants to listen and dig deep. August 16th, we will have a new moon in Cancer. It's going to be at the very end of Cancer though. So also in Gandanta, which is going to bring more emotions up. And this really, it's the second new moon in Cancer, because we had one on July 17th as well. But this new moon is going to be in a different lunar mansion. It's going to be in the lunar mansion of Ashlesha. This could bring more motivation, a desire to get things done, but it could also bring a feeling of loneliness. This will pass as well, but Ashlesha is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury and the moon don't always get along. Mercury is more analytical, more about the thinking mind, and the moon is much more the emotions, and those don't always go together. So it could feel a little off, and just know that's a thing. The second full moon will be on August 30th. So again, another super moon. This will be a blue moon because it's the second in the month of August. And just keep that in mind. Full moons, are a magical time. But at the same time, don't begin any projects after a full moon, because you really want to begin them at a new moon. This last full moon in August is in the lunar mansion of Shadabishak. This can bring a focus on spirituality and a desire to heal the human condition. People that have planets here or their moon here or ascendant here can make individuals more mystical and visionary, as well as a bit moodier. So with the moon transiting there could be a lot more emotion and a lot more moodiness going on. So recognize it will pass because the moon moves quickly, but that is happening. Also know, if you find that mood fluctuating, just zen, meditate, go with the flow, try not to take your emotions out on others as well. We're going to kind of jump back a few dates. I know I did not do this in a linear fashion this month, but that's what you get, is however it flows when I write these. So just know that August 4th, the moon is going to be conjunct Neptune. Neptune can be delusions. The moon is the mind and our emotions. So just know you could feel, don't take anything at face value that day. There could be increased emotional intensity. It could bring confusion. No major decisions until after August 6th, when the moon moves out of sidereal Pisces. August 10th, Jupiter and Mercury will be in trine to each other. This can bring opportunities through travel and communication. It can be a very positive transit, very optimistic. It's a period to socialize with friends, make plans for the future. It can be a great time to declutter your office and get it organized or reorganized. So if you've been feeling like, even your house, if you've been feeling there's too much clutter, that's a great energy to really take advantage of. It can also be really good transit for business dealings. August 17th, the sun is going to transit into sidereal Leo. It rules Leo. It's at home here. This can be really an impactful transit for all the signs. It can be a time of creativity. And you can find that you are more ambitious as well. August 18th, Mars is going to transit into sidereal Virgo. Now, Virgo is the sign of health and healing, and Mars will be in it from August 18th to October 3rd. So just watch your health, eat healthy. You could also find it brings a burst of energy and motivation. You may find yourself being more assertive. Now, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so the caution while Mars is in Virgo is it could make some more overly critical of others, but also of themselves. So be cautious not to beat yourself up to the point of it being overkill, and also be really careful not to be overly critical of others, especially with all the other planetary transits going on right now. There is that bit of, anytime you have Mercury and Mars together, a bit more accident potential. So just use caution, walking, riding, running, exercising, whatever the case may be. Take your time. Also be more cautious with your words. People's words can be more aggressive. They can be harsher in their communication. Try not to take things personal during this time, although with all the other emotional intensity, sensitivity will be higher. So this is going to make it interesting. So just step back, recognize if you need to have a harder conversation or a conversation with someone who wouldn't normally listen to you. This energy could work in your favor because it'll give you that aggressiveness to speak up. However, if you need to have a delicate conversation, this is what I always tell my clients when this is impacting them personally in their natal charts. I would recommend that you wait until after this transit is over, or be done with the conversation before this transit starts, is kind of what I suggest. August 23rd, our little favorite trickster, Mercury, is going to be stationing and turning retrograde. It will be fully retrograde in Leo, this sidereal Leo, this whole time. So it stations and turns retrograde August 23rd. It will be that way and last until September 15th. Mercury has been in Leo since July 24th and will stay in this sign until October 1st. So Mercury is in Leo a long time. It's always important to ensure anytime there's a Mercury retrograde, regardless of the sign or house it's in for you, ensure your computers are backed up. Be patient with your communication. Leave extra time if you are traveling. And I don't know about anybody else, but I have had a ton of clients traveling who are already seeing delays that are not related to Mercury retrograde. It's been all summer with just all these issues with flights and trains and travel. So don't be surprised if these events get even worse. And we see more issues with travel during this Mercury retrograde. Mercury does rule plants and gardening. So this can be a really good time to like spend time in nature, ground yourself, take your shoes off and really feel the grass beneath your feet. As long as it's not too hot, don't burn your feet. We don't want that given all the other heat going on, and all the fire signs with Leo and Aries being activated. But you'll know, but really get that fresh air, get that, nature, that grounding. During this Mercury retrograde, because of where it's at, there could be potential for increased issues around computer viruses or piracy. So just be very cautious. And be very careful when clicking on web links, and don't share information with anyone that asks for it. So just keep that in mind, especially if you don't know them and haven't shopped with them before. So August, very busy month. I always say listen to your intuition, but do this in conjunction with your research and due diligence when you're making decisions. Don't make rash decisions this month. We're in a really pivotal period of change over these next few years. There's just a lot going on. And there's just, the big outer planets, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, are packing a punch. But we each have our own unique natal chart, and that's where to focus. So if you have not had a consultation with a professional astrologer, there's no time like the present. I have linked down in the comments below. And if you don't already, like and follow this video so you get them sooner. With that being said, I know what you're also like is we want the predictions for each sign. These are broad, high level predictions, again, based on what your chart says and what your planets, personal natal planets are doing, that will impact this. Always pay attention to your moon sign and your ascendant. I like to use those in conjunction. If you don't know your ascendant or you don't have a time of birth, focus on your moon. It is, how you think about yourself. So it is very valid and very important as well. So moon, ascendant can also be called the rising sign. They're interchangeable. Aries, this is a really great time to express your thoughts, both honestly to yourself and others. This is a great time to make it clear where you stand and what you are thinking. Be sure you are still being sensitive to others, though, as you could enjoy pulling pranks this month that affect others more negatively. You can find yourself enjoying relaxing times at home, enjoying the peace, or with friends coming over. This can really be a time as well where you feel this need to redecorate your home. If this happens, really make sure you stick the budget you set for yourself, as there could be a tendency to overspend this month. Also, with that tendency to overspend, there could be, I caution you not to overindulge in food and drinks this month. The key word is moderation on all of this. Taurus, you may find yourself going within to contemplate all the new ideas that you've encountered. If you have important matters that need to be discussed with your family, now is the time. Don't let the helpful energy pass you by. I always say use the planetary energy in your favor. This month, everyday activities will be more enjoyable and agreeable. You could find your calendar booking up as your social life really kicks in. And you have this ability to really see the beauty in everyday things this month. So, really soak them in. You may find this month that you're truly blessed and surrounded by love. Gemini, you can find yourself meeting new people. You may find yourself busy with short trips, whether they be for work or fun. It's a great month to really pursue those intellectual activities, as well as a great time. It can be a great time talking with others, but also be sure that you are actively listening to them. Really hear what they're saying. Don't listen to respond, listen to hear. This month can have the ability to take you down two different paths, and the choice is going to be yours. So, it can be a time where you attract material possessions, money, and people. You could also see financial opportunities come your way, but there is that need to watch that you don't let extravagance and ego take over. Make sure your spending this month is practical and within budget, or be okay with your choices. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, if you're cool with your choice and you don't regret it, that's perfect. Cancer, you may find yourself in negotiations with others around property or money, or you may need to help others understand where you truly stand in terms of what you truly value. This month is a time where you will have the desire to relate to others. You will find you are more willing to compromise, which is required this month, and it can be a great time to get together with friends, take a vacation, or do something fun. Leo, you will find your mind is more active this month. You may feel a need to get away and travel. It can be good to do a weekend trip to reset your energy and scratch the itch, so to speak. Your mind may jump around from topic to topic very rapidly, which could confuse others. So be sure you stay aware and don't get pissed at them if they ask clarifying questions or like, wait, what? This is a month where you will find yourself caring for others from a selfless place. The key is not to expect anything in return, as then it is not truly selfless love. So you may find that if you've been struggling in your relationship, that the realities surface this month and are asking you to be honest with yourself. The key is doing all you can do this month so you don't look back and have regrets. As with anything, we don't want to look back and have regrets in our life. And the reality is you're making choices. So it's your choice. Take the time, think them through, do what's right for you. Virgo, you may find yourself desiring alone time to just do what you want and be with your own thoughts. This can be a great time to meditate. This may not be the best time to openly share your opinions, especially if you're doing so as a way to win over others. It's a great month to get a group of friends together and do something fun. And it can be anything from inviting everyone over to your home for a get together or going out and doing something fun. This can also be a good month to attend a conference, as you will do well in group settings. Libra, you will find yourself thinking about your goals and expectations. This can include analyzing to see if they still resonate or ever resonated. If you find that your goals were actually those placed on you by someone else, then now can be a great time to think about what you want your own goals to actually be moving forward. You can find that things are working in your favor at work and in your professional life, and you will find that your energy this month attracts people and circumstances that help you at work. The good news is your working relationship should be running more smoothly this month as you want to work with others from a place of peace. Scorpio, this can be a time when you find yourself making plans for your career. It can be a great time to learn new things related to your profession that will help you grow into the future. If you are curious about how to move up in your career, this can be a really great time to have a conversation with your boss so you understand better what is expected in order to achieve your goals. You will find that you have some experience this month that leads to your own personal growth, and this could come in various forms and may not be a bad experience. It can be a great time to go out, enjoy a museum, a concert that isn't in your normal wheelhouse, expand your horizons, as well as it can be a good month for a vacation, but make it someplace new that you've never been to before and haven't explored. Sagittarius, this can be a really great time to learn something new or sign up for a class that has been catching your eye. You are more intellectually curious right now. This can be a good time to travel. You are more open to new ideas that come up in conversations and communications with others. This month, you could find that you gain money through your spouse, a business partner, or even through some other means, such as an institution, without that extra effort on your part. It can be a good month for you to apply for a loan if you need one. You will also find yourself learning more about how you relate to others this month. Capricorn, this can be a great time to look inward and be honest with yourself about anything that comes to mind. You could find yourself in deep and intellectual conversations that get you thinking in a whole new way. You are in luck this month. Relationships will be a focus for you. So you have this ability to really keep that balance between a focus on yourself and those you encounter this month. If you are single, you could find a new love enters your life, but use caution because it is Venus retrograde and it may be more a fling than long term. If you are married or in a committed relationship, you will be able to express your love of your partner more freely. If you find yourself frustrated with your partner, please just use patience until Venus turns direct on September 3rd. Don't make any rash decisions. Like, you've already gone this long. Don't make any rash decisions. Venus retrograde brings a whole different energy. Aquarius, this is a really great time to make sure expectations are clear with your spouse, partner, or business partner. If you are facing a situation that requires the help of a specialist, this is a great time to reach out and consult with them on how to proceed. It can also be a really good month for work and your relationship with coworkers and your boss, and you really have this desire to work with others. If difficulties arise, you can get them resolved through listening and discussion with those involved. So don't sweep the conflict under the rug. Do the things, have the conversations diplomatically. Best to have them before Mercury goes retrograde on August 23rd. But keep that in mind. On the home front, this can be a time where you need to make sure you and your partner are on the same page in agreement with everything going on. And it can also be a good time for your health, but just be sure you're not overindulging in the sweet or fatty foods. Pisces, you will be focused on health and work. You may be more detail oriented right now and capable of managing work that requires more brain power. You are focused on getting the practical work done. Be cautious as you can be more critical of others this month. And remember, this is going to be even stronger when a couple of the transits talked about earlier in the video happen that can make people even more critical. You may find you're more focused on your health and improving it. And this is a great month to get out and have fun. To be going to museums, concerts, or anything else that falls in the entertainment world. It can be a time when you feel a need to express yourself more creatively, and you may find that your self-discipline is not as strong this month, so really be sure you don't get lazy and that you meet all your commitments. Friendly reminder, as always, I use the sidereal system of astrology, and I do Vedic astrology. One of the other things to keep in mind is Mars and Virgo. It could bring health stuff. It is the sign of health and healing. Last time Mars was there, we saw some spikes in health related issues, but don't let that scare you. Like, take precautions, eat healthy, maintain your immune system. And it's a quick transit. It's not retrograding here. It's a quick 6 weeks that Mars will be in Virgo. So keep that in mind. And otherwise, I hope everyone has a wonderful August, and I will do this again in September for you. So stay tuned. And if you are not already, sign up for my newsletter. It comes straight to your inbox, which is always convenient. I don't spam you. It's not my thing. I hate getting too many emails, so I don't send too many emails. But like and follow, and I will see y'all next month. So until then, have a wonderful August.